Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Eli and welcome back to my channel for another video. In today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at a new DAW. Well, it's new to me, but this DAW has been out for at least a year now, but today is actually my first time trying it, and after working on it for a little while, I decided to make this quick video to share with you guys my thoughts on Luna. Before we go ahead and jump into this video, make sure to drop a like and comment down below to show your support to this channel. And if you're new, don't forget to hit on the subscribe button and turn on the notification for more videos like this. Now, if you are enjoying the content that you see on this channel and you want to help us keep going, I'm going to have my website linked down in the description. Go ahead and click on that and you can hire us for any services that you may need that is music related. The website is pretty new, so we don't have all the services that we offer listed on there yet. So if you don't see a service that you may want and you want to know if we offer that service, go ahead, use the contact page and send us a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. But if the service that you do want is already on the website, you can go ahead and request that service right then and there. And we do have some major changes coming up. I don't want to announce anything too soon, but if you guys want to know what we have planned for the future, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. As I said, this is the first time I'm actually using it. I've had it for a couple months now, but I never actually even opened it. And today I decided to take a look at it and I quickly realized that it is a pretty decent DAW. So I wanted to share with you guys my experience so far. Now, just in case if you wanted to try out this DAW, there's a couple things that you need to know before you go and search for it. One is you must be an Apple user because this DAW is only available on Mac as of this video. And the second thing is you do need to own one of the UA audio interfaces, the Apollo lineup. On the other hand, if you do own a Mac computer and you do have an Apollo interface, then this DAW is free for you. You can go ahead and download it right now if you want to try it out. Bringing me to my next point of free DAW. As I said, if you already own an Apollo, this DAW is free for you. One thing that sets it aside from all the other DAWs on the market is that its free version is not like your typical free DAWs. This DAW is a fully featured DAW. It gives you access to everything that you would need to create music. Now, I did take a look at the different bundles that they have to offer when it comes to Luna. And what I noticed so far is not having one of those paid versions is the equivalent of me not having a certain plugin that a certain engineer would swear by. I'm not really missing out on anything that the DAW has to offer. I just don't have a specific plugin that comes with one of those bundles. With that said, I have run into a couple of hiccups mixing in Luna, which would actually be a step back for me if I decided to mix on Luna full time as of right now. Now, I have found workaround for those hiccups. They would just take a little getting used to, which is why I said that would be a step back for me. Because so far in all the different DAWs I've used, I have built that routine where if I needed to do this, I could just quickly do it this way without having to even think about it because I am so used to doing it that way. And with Luna, I have to use those workarounds. But those are not big deals. They're just a little step back. And for what the DAW actually has to offer, I think it's worth it. Now, those hiccups may not be for everyone because one of those hiccups do actually include having a certain hardware. And if you don't have that hardware, then you don't have to worry about that. The hardware that you have might work perfectly with it. For me, this hiccup is actually pretty big because it does render that piece of gear useless for me, which is a big part of my mixing process. And that big hiccup is actually being able to use my FaderPort 8 by PreSonus with Luna. As of right now, I use 3 major DAWs, Pro Tools, Logic, and Studio One. And my FaderPort works flawlessly with all 3 of them. And it is a big part of my workflow when it comes to mixing. So not being able to use it with Luna actually sucks. Now, I did see a few videos about how to actually use it with Luna, and I've tried what they've done on those videos. While it seems like it's been working on their video, it's not working for me. I don't know if I need to do like a firmware update or something, but as of right now, it is not working with Luna, so I can't use it. Back to old trusty mouse and keyboard to do my mixing with. Now, hiccup number 2 is side chaining. That is something that I do on every single mix that I do, especially if I'm mixing a beat. Side chaining, not being able to do side chaining in Luna sucks right now, but it's not the end of the world. I don't have to do sidechain, and I have found a workaround for sidechaining. And if worst comes to worst, I can actually use that workaround, but it sucks that it doesn't support sidechaining as of right now. But it's not a big deal. You can get away with not having to do sidechain in your mix. You can even manually do sidechain if you need to. That may take some time, but it is doable. And the last hiccup that I found so far is being able to print my mix without having to do analog summing. Now, in my studio, I do not have any outboard mixing gear, so analog summing is not something that I do. But a lot of people actually do use analog summing in their daily mix, which that wouldn't be a problem for them, because the workaround that I found for Luna, actually they wouldn't even notice that because they would be doing analog summing anyways. So there's that. What am I talking about when I say I am not able to print my mix without having to do analog summing when I'm mixing? Let's take a look at the computer right now so I can show you exactly what I mean. When mixing, if you want to do analog summing, a lot of people who uses hybrid mixing setup, they would typically route out their buses to be processed with outboard gear, and then import that back into their DAW so they can print the processed version of their track. So for example, on the drum track here, if I go on output, right now you can see it is on the 2-bus mix. But if I was doing analog summing, I would have had that being going out to output 1 and 2, for example, line out 1 and 2. And I would have a return audio track where the input of that would be input 1 and 2, being fed by the hardware gear that I'm using, so I can print it back into the DAW so I can finish out my mix that way. But since I am not doing analog summing, I am strictly mixing in the box. I don't need to do any of that. So my drums bus is going to my two bus mix, and all the buses that I have are going to the two bus mix. Now, I love printing my mix when I'm done. This is not something that you have to do. It's just for me. I like to print out my mixes just in case if I don't have access to a certain plugin that I use in this mix. Let's say I do a mix today and I have this plugin, but then down the line I find that I'm not using this plugin as much anymore, and it was a subscription-based plugin. I may end that subscription, and if I need to ever pull that mix back up, I want to have the original sound. So switching out plugins would be easier for me that way, because I do have the original source. I can just listen to it and try to replicate whatever I did with the new plugin that I'm replacing the subscription-based plugin that I no longer have. My 2-bus here is not going straight to my main out. This 2-bus is being routed to a separate bus somewhere, and that bus is being returned as an audio track where I can print it back into my DAW. I quickly realized that Luna was not allowing me to do that. I had to actually route out my 2-bus mix and then bring it back in with an audio track, which is essentially the same concept, but I had to do it physically. I didn't just route it in the DAW. I had to route it on my audio interface. What I was actually able to do to get around that was on my 2-bus out, I actually physically routed out to line out 5 and 6 on my audio interface. And then on my print track, I routed back in to line input 5 and 6. So creating a loop, and that way I was able to do it. Now, if I were to go in the back of my audio interface right now and pull those cables out and I hit play, you wouldn't hear anything because my 2-bus is feeding output 5 and 6, and output 5 and 6 has nothing plugged into them to return back in. So you would hear nothing. So right now I physically had to do a connection in the back of my audio interface to take output 5 and 6 and route it back into input 5 and 6. And I was able to do the summing that way. And I was able to print the track. Again, printing a track is not something that you really have to do. It's just something that I do for my preference. So far, that's all I've been able to find as far as what sets me back in terms of mixing in Luna. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I use Pro Tools, Logic, and Studio One on those 3 DAWs. I don't have any issues with being able to just route one of my buses to feed an audio track. That way I can just print that way. I don't have to worry about doing a physical routing on my audio interface. It's all being taken care of inside of the DAW. Aside from that, everything else I've found so far has been pretty smooth. And if you are a Pro Tools user, you're gonna love Luna because all of the shortcuts, all the keyboard shortcuts that I've been able to find so far are direct transfer from Pro Tools. So if you do use Pro Tools, you'll feel right at home using Luna. Usability wise, it has been very easy to use. It took me no time at all to be able to just quickly import a beat that I made on Logic and import it into Luna and be able to start mixing right away. It was not an issue at all. I am running the free version of Luna, so there's certain plugins that I do see on the bundle that I don't have. I was able to do the trial version of this, and I love the sound quality of this plugin so far. But I don't know if I'm ever gonna upgrade to them because I don't know if I'll be using Luna as my main editing DAW for now. I think I'm pretty satisfied with Pro Tools and Studio One as far as editing and mixing and producing all the way on Logic. So I don't know if I'll be switching over to Luna. But if I had to choose one DAW that Luna would be replacing, as of right now, as of this moment, as of this video, it would be Pro Tools. Simply because the subscription on Pro Tools is mad expensive. And having Luna, already having a free copy of Luna is already competing with what I'm able to do on Pro Tools. And if I were to invest in one of the bundles that Luna has to offer, I don't think I'd ever have to go back to Pro Tools ever again. But as of right now, I'm pretty satisfied with the DAWs that I use. But at least I have the free version here. And again, the free version is not really a free version. It's a full fleshed out DAW. It gives you access to everything. So if you already have a full list of plugins that you use, you can use them in Luna. It's not just a UA audio plugin base. You can use whatever plugins that you want. As a matter of fact, this mix that I did today, I'm barely using any UA plugins because I don't have a lot. I just have the free plugins that comes with the audio interface. So I don't really use those to mix a lot. Just use them when I'm tracking. So I have that LA2A compressor I may put on the track, and then that UA610B preamp that I use when I'm tracking vocals. But that's about it as far as the plugins that I do use from UA Audio. There is more that comes with the interface, but those are the ones that I use mostly when I'm tracking vocals if I'm not using my outboard microphone preamp. I think that is about it as far as what I've been able to find on Luna so far. Again, this is the very first mix I've been able to do on it, so I don't know all the ins and outs about it. I still have a lot to learn about it, but so far, mixing in it has been pretty easy and pretty fun, and I love the way it looks. So who knows in the future? We'll see. All right, that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching all the way till the end. Again, if you have not subscribed, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and drop a like and comment down below to show your support to this channel. And I will see you guys next time in the next video.